What is up, boys and girls? Londrick here, and now I'm back with another edition of Londrick's Fave Five, and as the title says, Fave Five TNA matches. So last time out we did Ring of Honor matches, so this time we're going to do TNA matches, or TNA slash Global Force Wrestling slash Impact Wrestling slash whatever the hell they call nowadays. I mean, I know it's called Impact Wrestling. I'm just joking. But yeah, at one time TNA was a really hot promotion with lots of great matches, and we're going to talk about the Fave Fives. So, yeah, let's just get down to a few honourable mentions. We got Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe from Lockdown 2008. Chris Harris versus James Storm from Sacrifice 2007. AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels from Against All Odds 2005. And let's just get to the list. Yeah, coming at number 5, we're going to go at Turning Point 2009 for the TNA World Championship. AJ Styles defending against Samoa Joe and Daniels. So, those three guys right there, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, three of the main guys was what made TNA so good back in the day. And here they are. Obviously, this is 4 years after the epic X Division title match at Unbreakable. And will we talk about that match later on? Maybe. Stay tuned. So, here we are 4 years later, and it's now for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, this was an interesting time in the company, because this was a couple of months after Jeff Jarrett was sent home from TNA after the whole situation with Kurt Angle's wife, Karen, and all that. And Jeff Jarrett was gone, off the creative team, sent home. And in the meantime, Vince Russo being writing television by himself. And then the big announcement, I guess, was around either September, October 2009. I can't remember which one it was. But it was definitely one of those 2 months. The big announcement that TNA had struck a deal with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff to come into the company to essentially help run the company. But this deal wouldn't come into place. They wouldn't make the debuts until January 2010. So basically TNA was in pretty much a holding pattern. They didn't want to do anything too big because it was all everything was gonna change basically once Hogan and Bischoff came in, and they were just basically tidying themselves over with television. So what TNA did, probably quite smart thing to do as well, was just go back to tried and trusted things. I think the theory was that AJ Daniels and Joe had worked in the past, so let's just let these guys work together while before Hogan and Bischoff come into the company, and it'll be pretty good. And maybe this was coincidence, maybe it was not. Maybe they did this on purpose because he knew it was coming. But at the time, AJ Styles was once again the TNA champion, winning the belt at No Surrender 2009. Then he went through Bound for Glory, beating the legendary Sting, and that was actually a really good match, to be fair, actually. Sting versus AJ Styles. And then they're going back to this. Going back to Daniels versus Joe, probably this time main event in the pay-per-view for the world title. Rematch from probably the most famous match in TNA history. And like I say, will we talk about that match later on? We'll see. So, over here at the time, AJ Styles was champion again after, I think it was about a 4-year drought being the champion. I think the last time he was world champion was 2005. When that was the NWA championship, actually. So, yeah, let's just think. Yeah, I think this was actually the first reign as TNA champion after it became a TNA championship, not the NWA championship, I believe. So, since then, he'd been back in the X Division, tag team champions with Daniels and all a feud with Kurt Angle, that sort of thing. Yeah, and it was obviously AJ Styles always a good go-to guy to give the title to. And then we had Daniels, who would now change his name to just Daniels at some point. So, think WWE randomly taking first and second names off wrestlers for no apparent reason. It was a WWE thing recently. Think again. Because back in like 2007, TNA did that to Christopher Daniels, yeah. Repackaged him, he grew his beard out, had this little face paint thing over his eyes, changed his music as well, which, to be fair, I didn't like that, because I really did like Christopher Daniels' disposable teens knockoff theme. And yeah, he was just Daniels. And he'd been pretty much out the loop for a while. Because I remember when this was about 2007, he got his new gimmick. Had a little brief feud with Sting. And then he reunited Triple X later that year. 2008. Oh, hey. Right, stop yawning. Can't really remember much of 2008, to be honest with you. 2009, really mainly X Division. So, got pushed back in the main event scene to face AJ Styles for the championship. And Samoa Joe, 2009 was not a good year for Samoa Joe. Joe finally became a TNA champion in 2008, beating Kurt Angle at Lockdown, and had a alright run as champion, I would say. I would say it was probably overall a disappointing title reign, considering the hype building up to it. And then he lost the title to Sting at Bound for Glory 2008. Started feeling the main event Mafia, and then, oh god, the Nation of Violence run, oh god. They changed his character, changed his look to what I can only describe as pajama pants, or pajama bottoms. I mean, his outfit looked absolutely ridiculous. Then he had like the tribal thing on his face. Oh god, it was awful. And then he randomly joins the main event Mafia in like Slammiversary 2009. Oh god. And then I guess like later in 2009, the main event Mafia quietly split up. Mojo went back on his own. And yeah, here we go. They went through it. And yeah, I think they had a basic storyline going on. Obviously the history and the big title match and all that. Then we get the match, and was the match as good as the Unbreakable one? Probably not quite, but it was still really damn good. I mean, this actually came after another awesome match, which could have made the list, but I'm going to say it didn't. Kurt Angle versus Desmond Wolfe, aka Nigel McGuinness, had an absolutely fantastic wrestling match. So these guys had a lot of pressure to top that, and I feel like they did. I mean, this was 4 years after the big match, so guys had gotten a little bit older than they were in 2005. Injuries and all that. I mean, at this time, Christopher Daniels wasn't far from 40, but they had an awesome match, another exciting match that fans really loved. I think the fans really appreciated this match, and it felt so fresh at the time because a lot of TNA's main event revolved around legends like Mick Foley and Sting and Kurt. Although Kurt Angle was still awesome at the time, to be fair. But yeah, one of the main events that year was Mick Foley versus Sting for the world title. So to go from that to go from this was a really big upgrade. Yeah, just a really, really exciting match. Really loved it. Some great action and all that stuff. Fans were awesome for it as well. Fans loved this match. And I loved this match. Thought it was an awesome match. Definitely need checking out if you haven't seen it. Coming in at number 4, Genesis 2006, The Dream Match, Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. Now, ideally, I would have liked to have the Lockdown match in this list as well, but it's a Fave Five list. I can only pick 5 matches, and I only had room for one Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe match, and this is the one I've gone with. I mean, for me personally, I feel like Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe is probably my favourite TNA rivalry ever. Easily for me, Kurt Angle's best TNA feud, best opponent, and this match was this was a dream match for me at the time, and one match that I was just so glad that finally happened, and it did not disappoint. It really didn't. Felt like an absolutely huge match at the time as well, and I believe Kurt Angle Samoa Joe matches. I think this and the Lockdown match with TNA's best ever pay-per-view buy rate. I mean, people correct me if I'm wrong, fine, but that's what I believe that's true. I may or may not be wrong. So, by 2006, TNA had been around for 4 years. It started to grow a bit of a following. Obviously, let's be honest, it wasn't like same popularity that mainstream upset as WWE was, not even close, and it never got that close. But for a little company started in Nashville, Tennessee, 4 years earlier, couldn't get on television, had to do weekly pay-per-views. It was starting to gain some momentum. I feel like 2004 was a good year. I feel like 2005 was a great year. of pay-per-view qualities than they've got on Spike TV. And I feel like 2006 carried on the momentum. Now, at the time, obviously, WWE had this big stars in pro wrestling. I mean, that's just the way it was. But then, guys would leave WWE and go to TNA. I mean, two really big notable ones for me were Christian Cage going over there in 2005, and then Team 3D, aka the Dudleys, also went there in 2005 after leaving the WWE. Rhino as well. And those guys are good, especially Christian, but they weren't generally one of the top stars in pro wrestling at the time. I mean, yeah, they were stars, but they weren't superstars, is probably the best way I can describe it. And then they got Sting in 2005, which was great. I mean, that a genuine mainstream star. But although one of the best days were about 10 years earlier in the 1990s and hadn't really been in a mainstream promotion for 5 years. But Sting, great as well. Great to have Sting. But they didn't really have one of those top WWE stars who left the WWE to join TNA. I suppose kind of like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall being top stars in WWE and immediately going to WCW in 1996. Then 2006, a really big departure from the WWE happened, and that was after 7 years, Kurt Angle leaving the WWE. Obviously, I don't want to go into big details of how and why Kurt Angle left WWE. It's quite a long story, and I don't want to take up too much time. But it was big news at the time. Kurt Angle actually leaving WWE, and it was thought, this is interesting. What could happen here? I think most of us assumed, because for the most part this was down to Kurt Angle's health, that Kurt Angle would take 6 months to a year off and come back to WWE at some point in 2007. I mean, I thought a lot of people thought, yeah, he'll probably be back in time for a big match at WrestleMania 23 or something like that. Because I think they thought, yeah, he'll take time off, he'll be back within a year. However, right at the end of No Surrender 2007, TNA had a big announcement. They would hype at the end of the show, then they showed a video, and it was a silhouette of a bald guy. I was like, who's that? So people think maybe Goldberg, because Goldberg was a free agent at the time. Then hang on, you look at, that's definitely not Goldberg. Holy fucking shit, that's Kurt fucking Angle. Wow, that was shocking. That was one of the few times, because this did not leak out on the internet, because obviously last, I don't know, like 20 years or so since the internet's really been a thing. Really hard to keep things a secret. I mean, when someone's signing for a company or whatever, somewhere someone on the internet reported it, whether that's Dave Meltzer, or these days people like Ryan Satin, Sean Sapp, people like that. Someone's going to leak it out at some point anyway. But at the time, nobody reported Kurt Angle going to TNA, and I think the fans in Impact were generally shocked. And this seemed like a massive deal at the time. Kurt Angle, who was obviously fresh off a big run in WWE, was even the World Heavyweight Champion in 2006, and here he was going to little old TNA, and it was, yeah, massive deal at the time. I mean, really shocked. And the first thing I thought when I knew Kurt Angle was going to TNA is, oh god, I would love to see him fight Samoa Joe. That'd be fucking cool. I mean, no lie, it's the first guy I thought of Kurt Angle facing in TNA was Samoa Joe. Absolutely. I mean, at the time, Samoa Joe was and still is one of my favourite wrestlers. I mean, obviously, going back to the Ring of Honor days. But when he joined TNA in 2005, that's when I got to see Samoa Joe more regularly. Because we did have TNA on TV in the UK at the time. First it was on the Wrestling Channel, and then I believe at some point Bravo. Remember, people from the UK of a certain age remember the channel Bravo. It was on Bravo for a while, and so yeah, over the last year or so I've been watching Samoa Joe. I just loved him. I just love watching this guy wrestle. Debuted about, I think it was Slammiversary 2005, and then so he got the undefeated streak basically. So like the big undefeated streak you've seen many times in the past, probably most famously by Goldberg in WCW. But in WWE, people like Umaga, Rusev, people like that going basically undefeated for an entire year, getting the big push. Samoa Joe, obviously, he's been in the X division for a while, facing all the smaller guys like AJ Daniels, Chris Sabin, guys like that. Then he got promoted to the heavyweight division. I mean, he actually had a really good feud with Scott Steiner. I mean, you might be surprised to hear that. And they had a surprisingly damn good match at Slammiversary 2006. Then he had a little feud with Rhino and Monty Brown. And then he actually faced Jeff Jarrett in a non-title match at that No Surrender. So at this point, Joe had been undefeated. By the time Kurt Angle came in, about a year and 3 months, it was like, holy crap, this is the match I want to see. And it seems like TNA were complete agreement with that. I mean, TNA at that time, definitely, kind of had the finger on the pulse and knew what the fans wanted. So Kurt Angle's first big pay-per-view match at TNA was indeed going to be with Samoa Joe. And this feud kicked off right before Bound for Glory, because I guess they didn't have time to really build to a match of Bound for Glory, and they had a big main event for that show anyway with Sting and Jeff Jarrett, so I guess the feeling was they didn't want to overshadow that match, and they would save it for the next pay-per-view, Genesis, in November, where this could be the undisputed headline attraction. So Kurt Angle's official TNA debut came a little bit before Bound for Glory, and obviously Samoa Joe confronted him, and oh my god, Kurt Angle responded by headbutting Samoa Joe, knocking him on his arse, and like, holy fuck. For me, that's still my favourite TNA moment, Kurt Angle's debut, and the big headbutt against Samoa Joe, and then the wicked brawl. I mean, I just love the pull-apart brawls that Angle and Joe having the build-up of this match. Just felt so realistic and all that, you know. Yeah, and just the storyline, two guys wanting to kill each other. I mean, Kurt Angle wanted to prove himself at TNA by beating Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe wanting to test himself against a guy the caliber of a Kurt Angle. I mean, just the anticipation of this match was great. I mean, everyone just could not wait to see this match. I mean, this is what pro wrestling's all about for me. The big fight feel, the big match aura, and this match absolutely had that in spades. I mean, there was no silly storyline behind this or like that. I mean, there would be later on in this feud, but not for this match. This was two professional wrestlers wanting to beat the crap out of each other in a fight. Kurt Angle wanted to get your TNA run off to a big bang, and Samoa Joe wanted to cement himself as a top guy by beating a top guy like Kurt Angle. And then the match, what a match this was. Just brutal, awesome psychology, just great realism. Although surprisingly, the match was like under 15 minutes. Went like 13 minutes long, so it wasn't an epic 30-minute struggle that you might have thought it would be, but it was a great brawl and great action for 13 minutes. I mean, they really just beat the crap out of each other, both guys just made each other look great in this match, and for me, one of the best TNA matches of all time. I mean, I loved the ending, but eventually, like, they were going for like all these submissions, trying to beat each other and all that. But eventually, Kurt Angle got the ankle lock in, got it in, wore Samoa Joe down too much. And then eventually, Samoa Joe had to tap out, and Kurt Angle got the big victory. And that was a big victory for Kurt, because Samoa Joe was pride himself on being a Samoan submission machine, and he was essentially beating his own game here. Kurt Angle eventually out-wrestled Samoa Joe and beat him with the ankle lock. I mean, and the big streak of Samoa Joe was over. I mean, a lot of people weren't happy about that at the time. I think a lot of people want Samoa Joe to win. But for me, it was fine. I mean, obviously, the Samoa Joe streak had to end at some point. I mean, because he couldn't go undefeated forever. That's just the way it is. Because eventually, everyone has to lose at some point anyway. And if he was going to lose his streak, might as well have lost his streak to a top guy like Kurt Angle, to be honest. I mean, Kurt was probably the right guy to end Samoa Joe's streak. And it was a really hot start for Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe rivalry, and for Kurt Angle and TNA in general. And yeah, if you think of Kurt Angle, you probably think of his WWE run. But if I would recommend any Kurt Angle TNA match, this would probably be the one. And then after this, probably the Samoa Joe match at Lockdown. But yeah, awesome match, definitely needs to be checked out. Coming number 3, we're going back to the X Division, and we're going back to 2005, and that's Turning Point. For the X Division Championship, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. So, minor spoiler here, I mean, as far as singles matches go, for me, this is the best singles match TNA's ever put on. I really do believe that. I mean, this was at a time where TNA was doing quite well. Obviously, business-wise, they weren't doing nearly anything like WWE was doing, but they developed quite a following now, especially online. I think a lot of people online really liked TNA at the time. 2005, I would say, for the most part, a year of superb pay-per-views, and they'd gotten on Spike TV at that point. Gotten a few guys like Christian Cage, Rhino, Team 3D, people like that. So the company was growing. I mean, it was really growing, and these two guys are one of the big reasons why TNA had a little bit of a following at the time. These were two of the best wrestlers in the entire world at the time, and you could argue in AJ Styles' case still is all these years later. And I think that's why a lot of people were excited to see them wrestling WWE last year, because he'd seen the work he'd done in TNA and were excited about it. And the WWE stuff was great, actually, to be fair. I thought the SummerSlam match was really good. What the Hell in a Cell match they had was probably the best match that they had together. But for me, overall, the best match, Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, had in singles action was this one right here, and also the X Division title. So this really goes on the back of the Unbreakable match at September 2009, where AJ Styles won the X Division title back. So just to point out, in that undefeated run, Samoa Joe technically had lost matches, but he personally hadn't been pinned or submitted. So, for example, in that triple threat match, it was Daniels that got pinned. He'd lost the X Division title in the Ultimate X match, so therefore hadn't been pinned. He'd lost in tag team matches as well, but his partner took the pinfall. So, going for that, AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels kept their feud going. They had an Iron Man match at Bound for Glory. And then Samoa Joe was paired with Jushin Thunder Liger for that Bound for Glory. Then we got I think there was a big 8-man X Division elimination match at Genesis, while AJ Styles defended the title against Pete Williams. And then I think what sparked this feud, because when people talk about the X Division usually they kind of like had a code of respect type thing, if that makes sense. So shaking each other's hands before matches, not sneak attacking each other, being things like that. So having like friendly rivalry matches, if that makes sense. So there was always talk about pride and respect and things like that. A little bit similar to the thing that Ring of Honor had going with the Code of Honor and things like that. But the crack was AJ Styles was a babyface, Samoa Joe was a heel, and he was like, fuck these rules and all that. So Samoa Joe's doing bad things there, bring disrespect to the X Division, that pissed AJ Styles off. And then the big one after Genesis, Samoa Joe like really beat down Christopher Daniels, like absolutely annihilated him, bloodied him up, all that thing. And this had Christopher Daniels off television for a little while. So this was it was really heat building device for Samoa Joe to get hit on him, having beat down Christopher Daniels. He bloodied up, but what I thought was awesome, because as you know, Samoa Joe always wore the towel over his neck. So for this, he had a towel which he covered the towel in Christopher Daniels' blood, and he was walking around with the towel for weeks like it was a trophy or something. So just to show, look what I did to Christopher Daniels. So then this led to AJ Styles and Samoa Joe feuding over the X Division title, and led to this match at Turning Point. I mean, it was about respect. It was about Samoa Joe continuing his run and all that. And God, this match was fucking great. I absolutely love this match. I mean, this match is an absolute classic for me. I mean, they had wrestled before. They did wrestle a couple of matches in the Ring of Honor, notably for the Ring of Honor title at the show called War of the Wire. And this is the second TNA pay-per-view match. They had a really awesome match actually at Sacrifice 2005. That was a really great match, but not a classic, I don't think. Then, of course, the infamous Unbreakable match of Christopher Daniels. But this match right here, this match was awesome. An absolute classic. I mean, these guys just beat the living crap out of each other. I thought it was actually really smart for TNA to put Samoa Joe in the X Division so early. Because even early on, it was the X Division. They said it wasn't about weight limits, it was about no limits. So it was really about that style of wrestling. But even so, for the most part, it was cruiserweight slash light heavyweight in the division. So going back to the beginning, people like AJ Styles, Jerry Lynn, Low Key, Kid Cash, Amazing Red, and then later on, people like Petey Williams, Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniels, and so on, Sonjay Dutt, people like that. So it was very rare that a bigger guy was in this division. And so they put Samoa Joe in that division because, yes, Samoa Joe's a 280-pound heavyweight, but he was able to wrestle that awesome X Division style and go for all the smaller guys. And it looked great because Samoa Joe really stood out as a big guy that could bully his smaller opponents and things like that. And they made fantastic matches. I mean, a couple of matches that come to mind for me, that match with AJ Styles. I think a really underrated as fuck one from that time period was a No Surrender 2005 against Chris Sabin. I mean, that match was really, really good. So that's what I like Samoa Joe. I think it reminded me when he was Ring of Honor champion, most of his opponents were smaller than him. So it was an interesting match of the smaller guys having to counter a big guy like Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe keeping up with them. I mean, they really did. They had a really good match here. Did a lot of good spots in there. Did a lot of great strikes in there. Some great wrestling. This match had a little bit of everything, you know. It really built to an awesome finish where Samoa Joe beat AJ Styles to become the new X Division champion. I mean, God, this match is fantastic. And Turning Point 2005 is actually a pretty damn good pay-per-view as well. And it was, yeah, it's sick because at the time I wasn't really a big fan of the WWE product at the time as well. So I was kind of watching TNA more than I was watching WWE at the time as well. So I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed this feud. Great stuff. Coming at number 2, and this time we're going from the X Division to the Tag Team Division. And that's the main event of Turning Point 2004. The losing team must disband in 6 sides of steel. That's Triple X versus America's Most Wanted. Now, just apologise if you hear some background noise going on right now. I mean, the bin men are here, so if you hear some weird noises going on, it's the bin men outside. So just try and ignore the background noise and just listen to me. So, 2004 was a different new year for TNA. So they've been around for 2 years at this point. I mean, they'd done the weekly pay-per-view thing. And at the time, it was pretty much the only option that they had. It wasn't a great option, but they couldn't get proper television. So they had what was called a weekly pay-per-view. So a 2-hour show, which I'm not sure what the price was. I think it was like $9.99 maybe. Maybe someone from America can tell me. Obviously, doing it every week, it was cheaper than your standard WWE pay-per-view. But after a while, that was starting to run its course, and then TNA eventually got a television deal with TNA Impact on the Fox Sports Network in like June of 2004. So at the time, for a little while after that, they were still doing Impact and weekly pay-per-views. And at the time, I guess they were spreading themselves too thin. And I guess they were doing at least okay on the TV. Obviously, they weren't doing great numbers or anything, but they were doing alright, I guess. So at the time, they thought, you know what we're going to do? Time to scrap this weekly pay-per-view thing and go to the monthly pay-per-view format. So the first, so in 2004 they switched from weekly to the monthly pay-per-view model that WWF and WCW have been doing for years. So and the first one was in November 2005, which was Victory Road. Yep, might have think about that there. Then the second one was right here, December 2004, Turning Point. And it was going to be main evented by a big match for the... no, it wasn't a tag team title match, was it? It was just 2 tag teams wanting to beat the shit out of each other in 6 sides of steel. And obviously, one thing I should point out, I think that the debut Impact, well, it's new invention. Why not a new invention? I think it'd be done in Mexico, but to the American audience, it was new. And that's a 6-sided ring. I mean, at the time, people were like, huh? That's strange. But I thought it was cool. I really did. Because I think it's one of those things where you gotta, if you're another wrestling company, you've got to find ways to stand out and be different from WWE. I mean, that's the big thing for me. I see a lot of companies and they try to be WWE light. But the best thing to do is to try and be different from WWE. And one of the ways TNA did that was them having a six-sided ring. Because I imagine if you're flipping channels and you see, you think, this ring looks pretty cool. I loved it anyway. I mean, I wish they'd never got rid of it. Obviously, Hogan and Bischoff had to get rid of it because reasons. And I think they brought it back for a while and then they got rid of it again. But I thought it was great anyway. And with that, what you do, you have a cage match and calling it six sides of steel. I don't know why, but I think like the six-sided steel cage looked so cool as well. Much cooler than your standard cage, I thought anyway. So yeah, at the time, this was these two teams been feuding on and off for a while. So Triple X was originally Christopher Daniels, Loki, and Elix Skipper. Elix Skipper, you might remember from the dying days of WCW, primetime Elix Skipper in Team Canada. And then right at the very end of WCW was in a cruiserweight tag team with Kid Romeo. Obviously, he wasn't one of the guys picked up by WWE. So what did he do? Went to TNA in 2002 and tried to continue his career. Really underrated guy, a guy who I think's been forgotten about in wrestling over the last 10, 15 years or so, whatever it's been. Just the kind of guy that's faded into history nowadays. People don't really bring him up. But he had a pretty decent career, and obviously Triple X was a big thing from Chris Daniels and Loki, of course, standout independent stars. So they did the three-man team and all that, which is really good. But I guess at some point Loki had left the company in like 2004. Then it was just Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper for a while. And then America's Most Wanted, Chris Harris, James Storm, probably one of, I don't know about this, he's probably top three tag teams in TNA history. I'll probably say these guys, Beer Money and Motor City Machine Guns, for me, probably the top three tag teams in TNA history. So these guys were with TNA right from the start. I mean, these were two of the guys that really got the break in wrestling going for TNA. Both guys are actually under developmental contract with WCW in like 99, 2000, 2001. Obviously when TNA died, WWE only picked up so many guys. And developmental guys like these weren't high on WWE's priorities, so it was back to the drawing board for Harris and Storm, back at the independent scene. Obviously small independent shows and things like that. Then TNA started in June of 2002. These were two of the guys that got picked up. And I guess they were just put together just to see how they would work out. I don't know if there was any long-term plans for these guys. If they just put, this guy's tall, has long hair. This guy's tall and has long hair. So let's put them together and make them a tag team, Chris Harris and James Storm. And it's just one of those things where sometimes something's put together and it just clicks. And it just works. And this is what really happened with those guys. So these two guys, along with what was that team called? The Disciples of something. Oh, fuck. They were managed by James Mitchell, and it was Brian Lee and somebody else. Fuck. I can't remember the name of that team. Bastard. I know what I'm talking about, but I can't remember the name of the team. Yeah, sorry. Lundrick fucks up sometimes on videos, and I've just fucked up here. Disciples of Sin, maybe? Something like that. I'm not sure. Well, that was a big feud in 2002. And yeah, just obviously as the tag team division grew, the tag team division basically was America's Most Wanted. They were by far and away the hottest team in TNA. Then they started feuding with Triple X in 2003. They had a big rivalry there. And ironically, they had a cage match in 2003 as well. Then I guess like they went on the way, feuded with other teams and that sort of thing. Early 2004, Chris Harris actually flirted with being a singles competitor. I mean, he started doing more singles stuff in 2004. Actually, notably having a little brief feud with Jeff Jarrett, and even had a big TNA title shot in like maybe March or April of 2004. That was actually a great match, to be fair. Then obviously he was involved in the King of the Mountain match and stuff like that. But he went back to the singles run. I guess TNA weren't ready to go all in on Chris Harris as a singles competitor just yet. And he got back together with James Storm in the summer of 2004. And then they resumed the feud with Triple X. Then they made, did they make, no they didn't. They were on the Victory Road though, and a tag team last man standing match, which was a cool concept. And I can't believe we haven't seen that many of these title matches. So yeah, basically tag last man standing match rules. Pretty simple, right? And then the rivalry, because it was just so intense, this rivalry got so big that it had to be settled in a steel cage match. And it had to be settled once and for all. And the way to do that was the losing team must disband. So although it wasn't a title match, something big was on the line. So this was chosen to main event that pay-per-view, because this is that infamous pay-per-view, that infamous Kings of Wrestling versus AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy and Randy Savage match. And thank God that match didn't main event, because that match it wasn't very good, was it really? So TNA was smart in putting these two teams on last. I mean, this was the main event, and to be put in the main event spot like this over mainstream stars such as Nash, Hall, Savage, they had to fucking deliver, and my God, they did. Just brutal match. Loved this match. Definitely one of the best standard cage matches of all time, not including Hell in a Cell. Just great match. I mean, these guys they did so much to each other. They wanted to leave it all out on the line and have just a fantastic match. I mean, this match is obviously most remembered for the tightrope spot. So not Christopher Daniels, because just to point out, because this was Daniels and Eric Skipper. So Chris Harris was sat on the top of the cage. I don't know, for me, is it me or was it TNA 6-hour sales matches really high cages? I mean, much higher than WWE. So Eric Skipper, oh my God, you've seen his spot in highlight reels and all sorts of things over there. So Eric Skipper stands on the cage, and they didn't have like that structure that WWE has on top of the cage. It was just a standard beam. So if he was off by an inch, he would have fucking fell and surely broken his neck or leg or something like that. So he does that, walks across the steel cage like, holy fuck, that was impressive. And then goes off of a Hurricane Rana off the top of the cage, and wow, that could have went so fucking wrong. So risky that move was. And as a matter of fact, Ace Skipper actually fell off right at the end, but he was able to catch himself in a Hurricane Rana. But it was really a terrifying spot, it really was. And just eventually it got down to America's Most Wanted night. They were the ones that finally managed to gain the advantage and get the victory and end this match. And disband Triple X. It wasn't forever, of course. I mean, I think no one really at least expected this losing team to slip off forever. However, in wrestling terms, they had here a stipulation of like 2007, so they went over 2 years, so that's fine by me, absolutely. And God, great match here. I mean, for me, he's probably one of the best cage matches of all time. I'll say at least the top 3 or 4 or 5. Absolutely awesome match. You have to see this match. Great stuff. Yeah, we're going to be boring, give the obvious boring answer. I mean, I think everyone expected this match to be number 1, and it is number 1. TNA Unbreakable 2005 X Division Championship, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels. I get the feeling if I polled 100 wrestling fans to say, what was your favourite TNA match, at least 90 would come up with this one. This is probably, maybe not the biggest in terms of business-wise, but I think the most memorable, and probably, when you think of TNA, this is probably the match you think of straight away. September 2005, Unbreakable, X Division Championship, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. I mean, this is for me, this is the only truly 5-star match in TNA history. The best match in TNA history, and one of the best matches of the past 15 years, period. So, the X Division title had been a thing for like 3 years now in TNA, and it was probably one of the main reasons a lot of people were watching TNA initially. I mean, yeah, you had your stars like Jeff Jarrett and Raven and Scott Hall and people like that. But I remember online, what most people were talking about in reference to TNA was the X Division thing. Because at the time, extreme sports was a big thing, so you get a lot of people like put X to anything. So TNA, and I've got to say, whoever came up with the name X Division, really, really smart, and it was a name that really, really clicked. Really great name to attach to it. So I'm guessing it was short for Extreme Division. I don't know. So the whole premise around the X Division was to have fast-paced, exciting, high-flying action, action-packed matches. So that was basically the premise of it. It wasn't defined by weight limits as such. It was the tagline. It was not about weight limits. It was about no limits. So it was a style basically. But like I said earlier, for the most part, it was cruiserweights in there. So early start of the X Division with Jerry Lynn, Low Key, AJ Styles, then Amazing Red, people like that. So AJ Styles was pretty much the face of the X Division. This was AJ Styles' big break in the United States. I mean, he'd been around for a little bit. He was very, very briefly in WCW towards the end. But going to TNA in June of 2002, being a part of the X Division was his big break in wrestling. And look at him now, arguably the best wrestler on the planet. You got to say one of the top 5 stars in WWE right now. Great. So obviously the X Division grew and grew and grew, and then it's kind of weird. I always wondered why it took TNA till 2005 to have AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels feud, because you look at that, you got an awesome heel in Daniels, you got an awesome face in AJ Styles, arguably your best 2 wrestlers in the company. So I was kind of surprised it took them until 2005 to actually start them feuding. So this feud began. You had the first big match on pay-per-view, it against all odds in 2005, the 30-minute Iron Man match. That's a classic match, actually. One of the best matches in TNA history. And then they went to Destination X in a 4-man match. And that's when Christopher Daniels won the X Division title from AJ Styles. Then after that, AJ kind of moved on to the heavyweight division again. And then he beat Abyss at Lockdown in 2005. And then become the NWA champion again at Hard Justice 2005, beating Jeff Jarrett. But he only had the title for about a month for losing at Raven of Slammiversary. And then at this point, Christopher Daniels started he'd built a really nice reign as the X Division champion, actually. Had a really good match with A. Skipper at Lockdown. Trying to think the matches he had. I think he wrestled people like Michael Shane, Chris Sabin, people like that. Had a hell of a gem with Petey Williams at No Surrender 2005. And then eventually AJ Styles are going back at the X Division picture. But this time he had a new man emerging. And that was Samoa Joe. Guy who was a big star in Ring of Honor. Went to TNA in 2005. Immediately was in the X Division. He made his debut by beating Sonjay Dutt at Slammiversary 2005. And then went through Chris Sabin at No Surrender. And then there was a little thing called the X Cup, the X Division Cup. So basically it was a number one contenders thing. It was AJ Styles to Samoa Joe in the final. Christopher Daniels actually interfered and helped Samoa Joe win. But instead of just having Joe and Daniels, because AJ Styles was screwed, TNA decided to put AJ Styles in there. And then we'd have a big triple threat match at Unbreakable. And that was the premise. And not only was this on Unbreakable 2005, it actually main evented the show, because the world title match that night was Raven versus Rhino, and that was a very capable main event. I mean Raven Rhino for the world title, that's a very capable main event. But I think everyone knew that no one was topping this X Division match, so I think the feeling was, well, let's put these guys at last and just let them do the thing. I can't remember the big storyline behind this match. I think it was just 3 great wrestlers all wanting to be the best. And at the time, you say AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, 3 of the best wrestlers on the planet. And all he had to do was do the thing, and do the thing they did. This match was unbelievable. I mean, the quality of this match was just absolutely incredible. I think everyone was expecting a great match, probably a really great match, actually. But I don't think anyone expected this match to be as good as it was. I mean, this was one of the best wrestling matches of 2005 period. Arguably the best. I mean, for me, there's 3 defining matches of 2005. Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi. This match. And how ironic, I mean, This and the Joker Bashi match happened within weeks of each other, so really great time for Samoa Joe. I mean, when I heard about this match, I realised I had to watch this match. And when I finally did get to see this match, completely blown away by it. Because I believe at the time, TNA was like on a week's delay in the UK. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So TNA shows wouldn't air in the UK till about a week after it aired in America. So I had to wait like over a week because this was back in 2005. I couldn't just find a streaming site to find this match like hours after it aired. I mean, you goddamn kids, you don't know how lucky you have it these days. You've got all these streaming sites and all that, and all these ways to watch stuff on the internet. We didn't really have that in 2005, I'm afraid. So I really had to wait till it aired on television in the UK like a week later. So I was really looking forward to this match. Yeah, I was just blown away by some of the spots, some of the near falls, some of the transitions, the storytelling, the psychology. Everything about this match is just fantastic, you know. I mean, Samoa Joe did his badassery, being the big man of the match. Christopher Daniels, great. AJ Styles, fantastic. Pretty much, yeah, just everything about this match was just killer. Absolute killer, amazing match. Love this match so much. And it was AJ Styles who reversed Christopher Daniels' Angel Wing into a pinning combination for AJ Styles to win back the X Division title. But obviously, notably, Samoa Joe wasn't pinned, so you could say his undefeated streak was kept intact. Even though technically he lost the match, but he himself wasn't personally pinned, so that protected Samoa Joe going forward. And God, yeah, just awesome match. I mean, one of the best professional wrestler matches in the United States in the last 15 years. The best match TNA ever put on. And to this day, even still now, the best match AJ Styles ever had. I mean, I think maybe Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom, but I can't put that match ahead of this one, to be honest with you. But yeah, just great match. I mean, if you haven't seen this match, definitely check it out. And that's the wrap, guys, for the top Fave 5 TNA matches. And what is my next Fave 5 is going to be? The answer is, I don't know. At this moment in time, I do not have an idea in my head. So I'm still open to suggestions. Any suggestions, put them in the comment section and I'll at least think about it. But like I said before, I want to try and talk about things that I haven't previously spoke about before, you know what I mean? Because I felt like I was repeating myself. So that's the wrap of Fave 5. Before you go, I just want to tell you about a couple of reviews coming up. So I finally finished the WCW 1999 reviews, and God, some of that was really painful to go through, but I got through it. Every WCW 1999 pay-per-view is now reviewed. Now, next review is going to be tied around the Best of Super Junior starting next week. So, there's a big show I'm going to review, and that's Super J Cup 1995. This is an old request, though I meant to do a while ago and I just didn't do it. But I'm going to fulfill that request and it's going to be done. So that show will be reviewed before Monday, so before the Best of Super Junior start. And two shows I've decided to do, because I looked them up and I thought, these shows actually look quite interesting. I should check these out. And that with Dominion coming up, I'm going to review Dominion 2013 and 2014. I might do 2012, but I'm not certain. But I definitely will do 2013 and 2014 within the next few weeks before Dominion this year. Because I'm probably going to watch all Dominion stuff on New Japan World for a bit. So I'm going to check those shows out. And apart from that, I don't have any other major plans. Of course, I will obviously review Money in the Bank in a couple of weeks, and that comes up. And of course, June the 1st, you got TakeOver 25. Yeah, of course, I'll do that. But as far as other reviews, I don't really have anything else in the pipeline other than Super J Cup 1995 and Dominion 2013, 2014. Because bear in mind, I have reviewed Dominion 2015, 16, 17, 18. So it'd be nice to add 2 more Dominions to the review list. So yeah, like I say, apart from that, I don't really have any particular plans. As a matter of fact, I don't even have a particular plan for the next Fave 5. So yeah, just thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, peace.